Hi everyone, and welcome to Chefs in Training. This is a program that was initiated by Chep Good Food Inc. This program evolved from the Kids Kitchen program that was being run in schools in partnership with the Greater Saskatoon Catholic Schools and their foundation. Chefs in Training is designed to help children, youth, and adults develop basic kitchen skills and improve their nutrition knowledge. This is a 5-week program. Each week contains different education and skill-building objectives and a culture question. All of these work together to help the following goals: supporting students or youth in acquiring important skills such as food safety, safe food handling, kitchen safety, and food preparation skills; supporting students who are major caregivers for their younger siblings by giving them the opportunity to learn how to cook a variety of nutritious meals; promoting healthy eating and increased awareness of nutrition, enabling students to bring home healthy foods for their family, and exploring the different cultures, especially around food in our community. We hope that you enjoy these sessions.
Hello everyone, my name is Monica Brescia and welcome to Session 5 of Chefs in Training. Today we're going to be learning about understanding eating well with the Canada Food Guide, and we're going to be making a Bison Soup and Bannock, and we're also going to be discussing what did you learn about different cultures.
Today's learning objective is understanding eating well with the Canada's Food Guide. We will want to welcome Ali Lewis, the Chep dietitian.
Hi, I'm Ali, registered dietitian with Chep. Health Canada recommends people follow the plate model when choosing their foods. The plate model shows half a plate of fruits and vegetables, a quarter of a plate of whole grains, and a quarter of a plate of proteins. Whole grains are a type of grain that doesn't have any of the nutrients removed when they process it. So for example, brown rice would be a whole grain, but white rice wouldn't be. It's recommended that you choose whole grains more often because they have so many important nutrients and fiber that refined grains don't have. Proteins are another part of the plate that is very important, and there are so many different protein foods to choose. Lentils, kidney beans, chickpeas, nuts, peanut butter, beef, chicken, milk, cheese. These are all examples of protein foods. Fruits and vegetables is the largest part of the plate, and many people don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. They don't have to always be fresh. They can be canned or they can be frozen, which is really important in Saskatchewan because in the winter seasons, we don't have as much fresh food. Does your plate always have to look like this perfect model? Half a plate of fruits and vegetables, a quarter plate whole grains, and a quarter plate proteins? No, but it's good to keep it in mind. Even when you're having, say, a snack, think about those 3 different groups. So if you were having some vegetables, maybe you could have them with hummus. Hummus is a dip made with chickpeas and it offers you proteins. You could also add whole grain crackers, and then you would be having all 3 of the groups from that plate. Even something like yogurt, granola, and fruit is a good snack because the yogurt gives you protein, the granola gives you whole grain from the oats, and the fruit is from the fruit and vegetable part of the plate. How about a meal? Say you were having spaghetti and meat sauce. That spaghetti, if you choose whole grain pasta, would offer you the whole grains. The meat sauce would give you protein, and there'd be a little bit of tomatoes in the sauce as well for the fruit and vegetables. You can make it even better by, say, adding a side of salad or frozen peas. There's lots of ways that you can play around with your meals to include all 3 parts of the plate. And the more you do, the more nutrients your body will get, and you'll be able to Just maximize every part of your diet to help you have a healthy life.
Steps in washing your hands is wet your hands, apply soap, you scrub the back of your hands, your wrists, between your fingers, under your fingernails, and the palm of your hand, and scrub for at least 15 seconds. Then you rinse your hands, and use the paper towel to turn off the water. Your next step is to wash your vegetables. It's simply a matter of running them under water, rubbing them with your clean hands, and taking off any excess dirt or germs. So now we're going to prep our vegetables. Next, you're going to use the side of that large knife and push down on the garlic and kind of move it in a paddling motion out into the side and back. You can do this a couple times, and then it helps make the garlic easier to chop up. Your garlic is now nice and chopped up or pureed depending on how much you do it. If you're at home and you have a garlic press, please feel free to use that instead. Our next vegetable that we're going to do is going to be our onion. First, we're going to cut the onion in half, leaving the tuft in place so that it will help hold the onion together. Then we peel our onion and we make slices into the onion that is not quite all the way through to the cutting board. This way it helps hold the onion together and it's much easier to chop. Our next vegetable is going to be the celery. You'll notice that we cut off both ends of the celery. Then we cut it in half and then into those halves into strips. You put the curved side up for the celery. That way it gives your celery a little bit more stability when you're cutting it into strips, and it helps give you nice even pieces. You will notice that Monica is curling her fingers under so that she doesn't accidentally cut herself with the knife. Okay, next we're going to peel our carrot. So just like the celery and the peppers, we're going to cut the carrot in half and then into strips, and then dice those strips. It's very important, especially with carrots, that you keep your fingers curled under. Once you have the potatoes peeled, You may want to wash them again, as sometimes the dirt on the peels can still remain on your hands. When dicing your potatoes, please make sure that they are all in uniform in size. This will ensure even cooking. Another reminder, remember to wash or wipe down the top of your lids before you open your pans. Using a dry measuring cup, measure out 1/4 cup of rice. To add more flavor to our soup, we are going to use up the vegetable broth. You need 1.7 liters of water and broth in total. 1 liter is 4 cups, and 0.7 is 700 milliliters. Now we're moving over to the stove. We're going to put a bit of water in the bottom of the pot to help cook the faster. This is going to be at a medium-high heat, about a number 7 on your stove. And as you can see, the handle is turned away from the edge, and a pot holder is always being used. Bring this to a boil, and then sprinkle your 1/4 cup rice into the mixture. You can now add the remaining ingredients, your stewed tomatoes, your tomato soup, and your crushed garlic. Also add a dash of pepper, which is approximately 1/8 of a teaspoon. Cover your soup and let simmer. This will likely take closer to 20 minutes than 1 hour.
Good afternoon, my name is Loretta Snakeskin. I'm from Untitled First Nations. Spent a lot of time with the Big River First Nations. Here to show you guys how to make bannock. So I'm going to put 3 cups of flour, 3 tablespoons of baking powder, tablespoons, 1 teaspoons. Big size difference with tablespoon and teaspoon, in case you're doing this for the first time. And so we're going to add when you add water, you want to add warm water, like lukewarm water. Somehow it helps the baking somehow. You'll also want to add some salt, some dry ingredients, just a little pinch. Maybe like that much, not too much. You want your bannock to mix our dry ingredients around so that they're all mixed together with the baking powder and the salt and everything. So that's what we're gonna do. We mix it, and then you add a little hole in there, and then you add the warm water, which I'm going to go grab. So we're gonna add 1.5 cup of water. So 1 cup and then half. So, and then we're gonna add. So we're gonna need a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. So not too much. Just about 1/4 of a cup. And so we'll add the oil to the water. And then I can show you how we mix it around. Okay, so now we're mixing. We're just taking a little bit of flour off the sides. We're not mixing it all together yet, just so we can get a nice dough. So what I like to do is like to stir in the middle a little bit, so we get a little bit of flour in there. And so we just take a little bit off the sides. So it's kind of like a roux, as we call it, right? So you just kind of mix it all in there. And that's just kind of how I've seen it done growing up. I never really seen anybody mix it all together at one time. So that's kind of why I just kind of turn the bowl and then mix it by hand. Okay. So, and that's almost done, and I'll show you how I put the dough together. And then we'll get it ready for the oven. And if there's a little bit of flour at the bottom, that's fine, but you kind of start to see that it's starting to form some dough. And if there's flour in the bottom, that's completely fine. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to take our dough here, and we're going to just kind of put it together into kind of like a ball. And so if it's too sticky, you just grab a little bit of flour and you just put it there like this, and then just grab a little bit of flour and just kind of put it together like this, because it's kind of like when you're making bread and your hands get too sticky, the flour kind of helps with that. But we don't want to knead it too much though. You want it a little bit sticky so that you can see. This is how it looks now. And it's pretty much almost done. And then if there's flour in there, you just gotta use it. So there's like nothing in there now. So this is my dough.
Looks like a very soft dough.
Yeah. So we're always try to be very gentle with it because you don't want it hard, right? Because it's not gonna turn out. And then this side, I usually just kind of that's the side the rough side. I kind of mix that in a little bit like that. And so now it looks like this. And I could use a little more flour because just kind of see, and it's still kind of soft, and it'll turn out really good. And then from there, I just kind of knead it out a little bit. I used to see my grandma when I was a child, my mom's mom. She used to knead her bannock like this, and I remember my very early memories of her making bannock that way. And just kind of all over. And then that's almost done. Just flatten it out as much as you can, because it will rise a little bit. And so the final thing you want to do with this fork is you want to poke it. I don't know if a lot of people do that, but it kind of allows the air through. And I've always just seen my family do that, so that's what I do.
Do you oil the pan at all?
No, we don't oil the pan. Usually we don't, but if we feel that the pan is going to be thick, it's not a good pan, then what you could do is just add a little bit of flour to it, and the flour will keep it from sticking to the pan. But usually we don't oil the pan. And then this is ready for the oven. And just like that.
So about how long does it take to bake?
You could, if you preheat your oven, it will bake about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, depending on how brown you want your bannock. And that's how you make the bannock. It's ready for the oven.
Session 5. What have you learned about our discussions with culture? I think one thing I'm continually learning about culture, and again, I've said this a few times before already, and I'm probably going to keep saying it, is that culture is static. Is not static. I'm testing you. Is not static. It's changing. It's evolving. It's alive. and it's alive because we're alive and we're changing and we're evolving. Culture isn't this thing that's kind of out there that we can observe. It's this thing that we are participating in, and it's simultaneously participating in us, because without us, there's no culture. So I think that's probably something that I'm constantly learning and trying to keep myself accountable to learning, and keeping myself open to learning. Because even though I grew up here in Saskatchewan, in Canada, that has a specific culture of its own, but there are many, many cultures out there, and there's so much to learn. Living in one particular small place in the world for a long time gives you such a small perspective of how big this world is and how much grander the world views can be. And those world views are just different kinds of cultures, and those things can enrich us, and they can keep us whole, and they can even provide different pathways to healing or to justice or to different forms of goodness. I don't think there is a singular culture that is, the one. I think we can all kind of learn from each other, like a very rich ecosystem, kind of like how our planet is, and it is most in its best place to thrive when it's working well together, and when things are in a nice ebb and flow balance. And yeah, I think so. I think that's probably the thing that I'm constantly trying to learn, and hoping that maybe you guys have learned too, and maybe you've learned something else as well about yourself and about the people around you. And I think maybe that's my greatest hope, is that that's what we do. We become people who are curious about ourselves and curious about the people around us in a compassionate and empathetic way. Take care.